Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz News Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 9th December today, and in this video we are going to solve various types of questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. If you are preparing for UPSC exams next year or you are preparing for any state service exams, then trust me, this video is going to be very much helpful for you. You know, Before we will start our discussion, I would like to give you the brief introduction about the video so that you will get more connected with it and you will come to know what we are going to discuss in here. You know, every day we try to upload this video on our YouTube channel. In this video, we try to discuss majorly three types of questions. In the first set of questions which we discuss here, we take the questions from the current affairs. We take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We break them down into the simplest language possible and derive the prelims based questions from those articles so that it will give the idea how the questions can be asked from these newspaper articles or how the questions can be asked from the current affairs daily. So this gives you the proper idea. So this is the first set of questions which we discuss here. And in the another set of questions which we discuss here, we take questions from the static portion directly. We had started to discuss the static topics also here, and we started with Indian polity. Right now we are discussing in DPSPs, so we are going to derive the questions from them and get and try to give you more idea about that, how the questions can be asked from from those discrete articles, even from those discrete articles, how the questions can be asked in the exam. So it will help you prepare well for your preparation. After discussing these questions with respect to the current affairs and discussing the questions with respect to the static portion, we shift our approach towards the last part of our discussion where we solve questions. We try to solve previous year questions. By solving the previous year questions, we get to know how we can implement the knowledge which we get from previous year questions in the upcoming exam, and also we try to find out the ways and methods by which we can solve the questions in the exam. So this is in nutshell about this initiative. Now, before we will start solving these questions, I would like to request you a few things which I think are very much important for you. First of all, please do note down these questions somewhere. These are going to be very much important for you. You don't know how much important, how good a role they will play in your preparation if you will have these questions with you. When your exams would be near and you would want to revise your current affairs, you would want to revise your static part, you would want to revise, go through the previous year questions, but the time would be so much limited that time, and the sources from where you have to study those materials, it would be very huge. But if you have this thing with you, if you have these questions with you, it will make your work very easy. You just have to go through these questions. These questions will definitely connect you with the current affairs, they will connect you with the static part, they will connect you with the previous year questions, and it will give you the proper idea what was in the news in the year, and what should be your approach in the exam, and also it will boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. So it would be best for you if you will note down these questions and keep them with you. And another thing I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel, share it with your friends, and do write in the comments what else should we bring for you. Please do criticize us if we are wrong anywhere, if we are lacking anything. We are here to improve, we are here to help you, but be little respectful in that we don't want to get demotivated at the same time. So without any delay, let's start our discussion by solving the first question here. As we can see, the question, it is about the Syria, it is about the land borders which border the Syria. Let's see what the question says. It says, which of the following countries does not? Here the question says, always remember this thing. When you are reading the questions, please take at least 30 seconds to read that question properly. It plays a huge role in your answer writing when you are preparing for exam, when you are writing the answers in the exam, because we often tend to forget these small terms. So in this question here we can see that which countries does not. Here the catch is did not. Which of them does not share the land border with the Syria. So these, please always try to read the questions very carefully. Search for these catches in the question itself. Now coming to the question here we have to find out which of the countries given below does not share border with the Syria. You may ask me, sir, why we had directly taken question on Syria? What was the need and necessity to bring such question in today's discussion? But dear students, you would have seen your previous year papers with respect to the international relationships. You would often find such questions: what are the countries sharing land borders with Lebanon or Sudan or something like that? You would often hear you or Russia or Iran. You would often see such questions in the exam. That is why it becomes important, because right now Syria is on the hotbed. The Bashar al-Assad government has been toppled down there. Bashar al-Assad, he fled from Syria, and it was earlier, if it was earlier believed that his aircraft has crashed, but that was not the case. Now let's, we had discussed the situation with Syria in our earlier classes too, but let's by as we have to solve the question here, so let's get some basic idea about it, and after that we will solve the question. In Syria, from the last 5 decades almost, it was Bashar al-Assad's government there, and they were very much dictatorial in nature. Their family ruled the country for more than 50 years, and we had seen the atrocities they had committed in the country. Even though, one thing is very much understood: the people did not like him, and because of the atrocities committed by him and the mistakes from his government, there were always, the country was on the hotbed since 2013 itself. There were civil war going on. Different sections of the rebel groups were fighting in the country. We are seeing from the eastern side, there are ISIS is fighting. Once it was believed that they are going to take control of the Syria, but because of the interference from the western countries, and especially from the Russia and Iran, and also from the US and UK, the ISIS was stopped very much. And also we are seeing from the western side, we are seeing the another military group, militant group that time, which was named as Al Nasser. It was the militant group that time, which was named as Al Nasser. It was it was playing its part in the rebel, and also there were many many other Kurds were fighting in the country for their rights, and different other sections of the rebel groups were fighting. So Al Qaeda was also playing part there. So by when the time passed in 2013 itself, there were huge interests of Russia and Iran. They played their part, and they helped the Bashar al-Assad government to curb this, to almost curb this civil war in the country, to almost curb this rebellism in the country. But as right now we are seeing from the 2021 itself, we are seeing that Russia got involved with the Ukraine. They are highly involved with the Ukraine, and there are huge sanctions on Russia from the Western countries, and also Russian trade has been impacted. And similarly, if we will see the Iran. It has been involved with the Israel. So the Bashar al-Assad's government fell into a vacuum where they were, they felt so lonely that they did not got any external support from anywhere. And this time the HTS, you know namely Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which was earlier previously known as al-Nusra, which is headed by Abu Muhammad al-Julani. They found the best time to attack the Bashar al-Assad government, and they almost captured all the important cities in the Syria, and also captured the Damascus, the capital of Syria. And in the meantime, the Syrian president, which was Bashar al-Assad, it was believed that he fled from the country. Earlier, it was believed that his aircraft crashed and he died, but that was just a fake news which was spread there by his supporters, so that he gained the time, and he went to the Russia, and he got the asylum there. He is right now in Kremlin, and he got the asylum from the Russian government. So this is in a nutshell. We had already discussed about it. We had discussed what were the different militant groups involved in Syria. We had discussed that in earlier class too. Now here we had brought the question with respect to the borders with Syria. What are the countries which share land borders with the Syria? So here the question says, which of the following countries does not share land border with Syria? If, as I had marked the correct answer here, I had given the explanation from northern side. Turkey shares land border with Syria. From the eastern side, Iraq shares land border with Syria. From the southern side, Jordan shares land border with Syria. From southwestern side, Lebanon and Israel shares land border with Syria. So here, with respect to this question, it is Egypt which does not share land border with Syria. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option C. So I hope you had got the proper idea about the Syria. What are the countries sharing land border with it? From the northern side, which country shares land border with Syria? From the eastern side, which country shares land border with Syria? From the southern side, which country shares land border with Syria? And from the southwestern side, which are the countries which share land border with Syria? So with this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about the challenges faced by rapidly urbanizing congested areas. Here the question is a little a factual question, a technical question. Often we don't see such questions in the prelims, but why I had brought this question to educate you about something which had happened recently in Chennai. So here the question says, which of the following is not a major challenge faced a by rapidly urbanizing congested areas? So if there is rapid urbanization in a congested area, or if there is urbanization and it is increasing day by day, as it is estimated by the coming decades, there would be rapidly urbanized, there would be urbanization would be so congested that the population density would be so high that it is said that even you would not be able to breathe properly. So that much congested it would be. So it definitely had some grave challenges associated with it. It definitely has some grave some it definitely impacts the society in a very bad way. So here we have to find out what which of the following is not a major challenge. In the options given below, there are options given, there are challenges given. Here we have to find out which of them is not the major challenge. So we have to solve this question here, but the question is not that important to us with respect to the prelims, if I will be honest with you, but it may become important for us with respect to the overall knowledge, with respect to the mains exam. So here we need to understand what are the impacts of the urbanization. As why we are discussing it here, because unfortunately in the outskirts of Chennai, because of the water pollution, many people died, 3 people died, and many more got hospitalized. It was said that there was huge water pollution, and the water board and the local water board, that they were not able to give the proper clean water, hygienic water to the people there, and unfortunately 3 people lost lives because of that. And when such incidents happen, we often blame the people who are living in those congested areas. We believe that they are the dirtiest people. They don't maintain their hygiene, but that is not always true. It is not true. Nobody likes to be unhygienic. To be honest, nobody in this world likes to be unhygienic. We humans are evolved so that we want to be very much attractive. We don't like to be unhygienic. But unfortunately, the conditions around us, the surroundings around us, force us to do such things by which our health gets compromised. So was the case with those people, because of the urbanization, the unplanned urbanization there. It has impacted. Water pollution has been there, and the people lost their lives. But the irony here is, irrespective of blaming the people, everybody should have blamed the government, but the minister from that concerned constituency, the MLA from that concerned constituency, he came there, he visited there, and unfortunately, it was very unfortunate that he started blaming the people, irrespective of blaming the government that they were not able to give them adequate resources by which they could have saved those lives. So this is an issue. This is the major issue faced by the rapid urbanization. If there is rapid urbanization, and it is believed that in coming decades it would be more increasing, and it would definitely impact the people. We have to find out what are the challenges faced here, the challenges faced by unplanned urbanization, how we can cope up with these issues. So here in this question we had brought up this question, and we will see what are the various challenges faced by rapid urbanization and what are not. Here the question says which of the following is not. Here we have to find which one is not the major challenge faced by rapid urbanization. The first statement, inadequate infrastructure, it is definitely a challenge. There is inadequate infrastructure which is primarily proportional to the rapid urbanization. So with respect to this question, this statement is incorrect, but with respect to the rapid urbanization, this inadequate infrastructure is one of the major challenge faced by it. Second is environmental pollution. Environment pollution in any way, it is always an issue with respect to the urbanization, but with respect to this uh, question, it is incorrect. And also when we talk about environmental pollution, it is not always about the pollution in air or pollution dumping of plastic or all that stuff which we have common understanding of. It definitely includes the water pollution. And if we will see the reports from the various resources, we will see that arsenic, it has been the major contributor to water contamination in 230 districts in India report higher levels of arsenic. And also similarly fluoride concentration is alarmingly high in 469 districts. It has been reported by Jal Shakti Ministry, which has reported that arsenic and fluoride concentration in many different states, how much high it is. And also it has been found out that E. coli bacteria, which it has also been found in the contaminated water in some concentration, and it is being fed by the people. And also according to the WHO, we should know that according to the WHO, it shows that in the world 1.7 billion people are consuming water which is contaminated with the feces. So this is how much polluted water we are consuming right now. And and also the United Nations General Assembly in 2010, they had recognized clean water and sanitation as basic human rights. So definitely governments have to come in and they have to solve this issue. It is the duty of the governments, whether it would be state government or the central government, they have to come in. It is not the people's fault they are consuming unhygienic water. It is the fault of the government that they are not able to provide us that much that quality of the water, that quality of the environment, that quality of the lifestyle which everybody deserves. So with respect to this question, second statement is incorrect, but environment pollution is the major challenge faced by the rapid urbanization. Similarly, social inequality, it is also the one of the challenge faced by the rapid urbanization, but with respect to this question, it is incorrect. So finally, decreased population density, it is totally incorrect with respect to this. It is totally correct with respect to this question because it is not the challenge faced by the rapid urbanization. When there is rapid urbanization, there would be increased population density, not decreased population density. So with respect to this question, option D is correct. But with respect to rapid urbanization, with respect to this question, option D is correct, but with respect to rapid urbanization, this is incorrect because it is inverse of this. So with this, I hope you had understood the question itself and also the context of the question. Now with this, let's move to the another question, try to solve that. Here we have a question on the China's gray zone warfare tactics. Recently there had been many articles with respect to the India-China relationships. Recently, both the countries have agreed. What both the countries, the border stand off between the India and China, how both countries agreed on the terms to go back to pre-2021 era, how it was early in 2021 era. It has been highly appreciated. Even it was the first time the foreign minister Jai Shankar addressed the Indian parliament and publicly gave statements what had happened in Ladakh, and how both the countries have agreed in solving this issue. It is not solving it properly, but going back to the 2021 era. But according to the author who wrote this article, he said that there has been various issues, where the government has not been very much clear, and also the government should keep the check on China's gray zone warfare tactics. So here we need to know what this China's gray zone warfare tactics is. We need to get more idea about it. So because of that, we had brought this question. As the question says, which of the following is not, also here is the catch, is not a characteristic of China's gray zone warfare tactics. First statement, ambiguity and uncertainty. 100% correct. This is the one of the characteristics of China's gray zone warfare tactics. You would be very much unsure of what China is doing. It would be very much there would be very much ambiguity and uncertainty. So this is what China does. It is often going against the status quo. It will often go against the status quo. We believe that we had solved this issue, but they will start working on that on the ground level in a non-traditional level. And this is what China does. This is China's gray zone warfare tactic. So statement 1, with respect to this China's gray zone warfare tactic, it is 100% correct, but with respect to this question, it is not. So statement 1 with respect to the question is not correct, but with respect to gray zone warfare tactic, 100% correct. Statement 2, use of non-traditional methods, 100%. This is the characteristics of the China's gray zone warfare tactic. They would use non-traditional methods. There would be no army confrontations. They would use non-traditional methods, like they will go for cyber crimes. They will go for false campaigning and all that stuff. So they would use this in this. With respect to this question, it is incorrect, but with respect to gray zone warfare tactic, 100% correct. Third, escalation below the threshold of conventional war, 100% correct with respect to the China's gray zone war tactic, but with respect to this question, totally incorrect. Fourth, direct military confrontation, 100% with respect to this question, it is correct, but with respect to gray zone warfare, it is incorrect, because in the China's gray zone warfare tactic, they won't include direct military confrontation. So with respect to this, it is incorrect, and with respect to the question, it is not a characteristics of China's gray zone war tactic. It is option D. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option D. Again, I would say option D is the correct statement, as it is not a characteristic of China's gray zone war tactic. There would be no military confrontation, but they would use different alternative methods. They would keep us in ambiguity, whether we would not be able to answer the questions whether they are truly genuine what they are doing. They are often believed that they break the status quo. They will go against the agreements itself. They will unilaterally decide what to do. They will unilaterally decide what the border solution would be. Like we have LAC with respect to China. For China, it is not now this LAC. It is more. It was more like an agreement. It was not the proper solution. But for China, it is not same how India views LAC to be. For China, it is different. So there is always ambiguity and uncertainty with respect to China's what China does. China uses it as a gray zone war tactic. So this becomes important for us. This is what the author was warning Indian government, was warning India that they should always look into this, what China is doing. So with this, let's move to the another article. Let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is about the GDP growth and greenhouse gas emission. Why we had brought this question, because there was an article about it. It said the article actually criticized the government of India governments, what they had said in the economic survey in this year's survey, that India has decoupled. India has completely decoupled GDP growth from greenhouse gas emissions. So what does this decoupling mean? We will understand that. What is this relationship between GDP growth and greenhouse gas emission? We will understand it. In a traditional way, whenever there is GDP growth, what does it mean? It means that we are burning more fuel. We are contributing more greenhouse gas emissions to the environment, and it definitely leads to increased greenhouse gas emissions. Traditionally, this is the understanding. But what is this decoupling? What does this mean? That how we can decouple this greenhouse gas emission and GDP growth? By using the technology and policy interventions, we can decouple it. We can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, and at the same time, we will increase the GDP growth. So this is in a nutshell what does the article here wants to say. And according to the author, it is India has not achieved, according to the author, the decoupling is of two types. One is absolute decoupling and another is relative decoupling. In absolute decoupling, GDP will keep growing and greenhouse gas emissions will see huge decline. And in the relative decoupling, GDP increases and greenhouse gas emissions also reduces, but with respect to the previous year, not overall decline would be in the GDP, in the greenhouse gas emission. So according to the author, India has not achieved the absolute decoupling, but they had achieved the relative decoupling. This is what the author says. So this is in nutshell about the context of the question. Now let's try to solve it. Here the question says which of the following statements best describe the traditional relationship between the GDP growth and the greenhouse gas emission. Here the question says GDP growth always leads to increased greenhouse gas emission. Here the catch is always. It is not always so. If you, for example, your your GDP growth depends upon what your source is, what is your source of income. So it is not always that it will lead to it will always lead to increased greenhouse gas emissions. So here, with respect to this question, it becomes very much extreme. And if it would have been GDP growth often leads to increased greenhouse gas emission, that it would have been correct. But it always leads to greenhouse gas emission. This statement becomes extreme and it is incorrect. Statement 2, GDP growth and greenhouse gas emissions are inversely proportional. Total incorrect. There is proportionality is there with the GDP growth. When GDP growth will increase, there would be, with respect that, the greenhouse gas emissions would also be there. But it is not proportional. It is not inversely proportional, that it is often seen that it increases. So this statement is also extreme and incorrect. Third, there is no direct correlation between GDP growth and greenhouse gas emission. This is also incorrect. We had seen the direct correlation between GDP growth and greenhouse gas emission in various ways. So this statement is also extreme and incorrect. Statement 4, it says GDP growth often leads to increased greenhouse gas emission. 100% correct. But technological advancements and policy interventions can decouple the two, as we discussed it in the context part. So this statement is 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option D. With this, let's move to the last question from current affairs, which is about the Indian star tortoise. Let us see what does the question says. The question says the Indian star tortoise is listed under which appendix of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. Cities under which appendix of the cities is the Indian star tortoise mentioned? It is mentioned in appendix 1. In the IUCN list, it is mentioned as vulnerable under IUCN list. So this is in nutshell about the Indian star tortoise. Why it is in news? Because there are high reports of poaching of this species. It is people. This is a wild animal, and people are domesticating it, and it comes under the poaching. And if the authorities find out, so those people would be those people definitely will go through, and they will go through the jail terms according to the laws. And also with respect to the Wildlife Protection Act, it comes under the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act. Where it is found, it is mostly found in Indian subcontinent, in the southern India, also in northwest India, also in some parts of Pakistan and some parts of Sri Lanka. Biggest threat comes from poaching and trafficking. So with this is in nutshell about this Indian star tortoise, why it was in news, and what is its status with respect to IUCN list, with respect to the cities sites list, and with respect to the India's wildlife protection list. So with this, we complete today's discussion with respect to the current affairs. Now let's move to the static part and try to solve a small question on the static topic, and then after we will shift our approach towards the previous year questions. Here the question is on the Article 36 of the Indian Constitution. It defines the term state for the purpose of what? As Article 36, it comes under the directive principles of state policies. So it defines the term state for the purpose of DPSPs. What does this state mean here? It means the same as it is under Article 12 of the Indian Constitution in Part 3. Whether it would be any government entity, irrespective of the judiciary, everything is included in the term state. So question number for Article 36, that the term state is used for the purpose of directive principles of state policies, and it excludes judiciary from this term state. It includes the government, it includes the legislative members, it includes everybody except the judiciary. So with this, let's move to the last part of our discussion, where we will solve the previous year question and we will conclude this discussion. Here the question says, consider the following statements. First statement, the first woman president of the Indian National Congress, was Sarojini Naidu. Totally incorrect. She was Annie Besant in 1917, I guess. Annie Besant. Sorry, I don't have pen to write it properly, so I hope you understood it. A and B, Annie Besant. She was Annie Besant. Coming to the, so statement 1 is incorrect. Coming to the statement 2, the first Muslim president of the Indian National Congress was Badruddin Tayyibji, 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement B, only 2 only. With this, I hope you had understood all the questions which we discussed here. I hope I was very much clear in solving the questions, and I was very much clear in giving you the context behind those questions. If I had lacked anywhere, please write in the comments. If I need to bring something new for you, please write in the comments. We are here to help you. We are here to improve ourselves. Please do criticize us where criticism is due, but be little respectful. We don't want to get demotivated. And by this, I would like to say thank you very much to all of you. If you are watching this video, if you will watch this video, and have a good year for you guys. I hope you would crack every exam which you are preparing for. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.